It is with great pleasure that I welcome to the stage the Honorable Hilda Solis.
Hello. Buenas tardes. And thank you, Eduardo, for that wonderful introduction. It's great to be here. Is young people, youth in the house? And those that are over 30, I think we have some people over 30 is what I'm told. Yay! Anyway, it's great to be here, and congratulations for making it here to the 2012 Campus Progress National Conference right here in our beautiful town of Washington, D.C. But I want to start and say that just right off the bat, I have to thank each and every one of you, especially because you made a commitment to be here. Can't tell you how important it is that our students and folks like yourselves, community leaders, come out and help us lead the way. I feel quite at home amongst you because that's where I got my start, being an activist on my campus, but also even in high school, getting a little taste of what that means, leadership, getting motivated and getting involved in the trenches. And even though right now we know that times are really tough, I don't think I have to tell you that. You know that. You've been feeling it. You see it in your neighborhoods. You feel it with your families. And these are all very important issues for us to look at because what's happening to you is happening all over America. And in communities like yours, we've just got to keep fighting for fairness. The bottom line is that's what this country was made to represent, fairness and equality and opportunity. Those are very important values that I know many of you and I share, and so does this president here, Barack Obama. And I want to tell you also that I'm very proud of the work that you're doing right now on some of these very hard issues. These aren't easy things to go out there and organize around, but your advocacy is very, very important because change never comes easy for anybody. It means putting in some skin in the game, as they say. But the president and I and you and others know that we can do it if we work together. But the president is also counting on you because you were there with him before. And I and he know the value of your strength, your commitment, and the way we say it in Spanish, ganas. Okay? Ganas. That's the ability, the wherewithal to go out there no matter what anyone says to you. You're going to continue to succeed. You're going to continue to plow ahead. And the president and I know that that's what needs to happen right now. The president's spending a lot of time trying to convince people in the House right now and in the Senate that it's important to put people back to work. And part of that is helping to build roads and bridges right now. And I mean putting people back to work that have been out of work for a long time, especially those construction workers and people who represent our families. In fact, I have a few of them in my own family. I have brothers in construction that are just barely making ends meet right now. And my nephew, who's out there struggling, trying to put food on the table for his kids and for his family. It's hard, and things are going to get hard, and they have been hard. But that isn't going to keep us down, right? That is not going to keep us down. And we want to build upon an economy that treats everyone fairly, that will produce also good paying jobs for everyone. And I mean good jobs that also protect our planet, the environment. And also, we want an economy that invests in our education because we can't afford not to continue to invest in skills development and job training. That's what's going to put our economy back to work. That's what's going to keep us competitive with our neighboring countries and those that are abroad, those other competitors out there. What we need to make sure of as well is that we reform our immigration system. For Pete's sake, we've got to make some changes here. We've got to make some changes. We've got to be able to bring out those millions of families and young people, some may be in this room, so that they can come out of the shadows and pursue their dreams and also contribute to our society. Many of you are already doing that, and we know that much more can happen. We don't have to penalize working class people because just because they don't have a piece of paper. And the president worked very hard to make sure that just recently that we give allowances for those dreamers, for those young people that can stay here and work at least for 2 years, get a permit, and for the time being continue with their education or continue if they're in the military. But you know what? That's just a start. That is just a start. The real issue is getting the Congress and the Senate to work with us. And that's where your work comes in, helping to mobilize and activate other students out there in the community to understand what's at stake here. And we can't afford to go back. We can't allow some of the people in Congress out there that right now think that all the things that we've been working on are of no use. One of the things that comes to mind to me right away is to talk about healthcare reform. You know, there was a lot of miscommunication out there, but there are many of you here that are benefiting and will benefit or continue to benefit because you're going to be able to stay on your parents' health plan until the age of 26. That's something that I didn't have as a luxury, but it's there now for millions, and it will be, and there will be more protections for people. And right now, as you know, and without your help, Pell Grants, so important for us. Financial aid for working class families, for young adults, for people who need an additional helping hand. I'm not saying a handout because no matter what, you still have to comply by the rules. You still have to get good grades when you get that Pell Grant. Remember? I remember that. I was a Pell Grant awardee myself. I'm probably one of the few secretaries in the cabinet that actually was a work-study student and a Pell Grant student. And the president is saying, let's continue to push out more financial aid for working class people so everybody gets ahead. It is so important. Why allow for folks that don't need tax breaks, like the wealthy, to get away with not paying taxes, when if they do pay taxes and everyone abides and plays by the same rules, we're going to have more ability to put out more Pell Grants, financial aid assistance, job training programs, better Medicare and health care facilities for people right now who don't have that coverage. Those are the things that the president and I and people in the cabinet and people I know in this room care about. I know that's right, and I know that we have a ways to go to convince other people, especially people on the other side of the aisle, that don't think that these are worthy causes. And you know it because just last week, the Republicans in the Senate blocked a vote so that we could tax the higher income people who really don't even want a tax break in many cases, and yet somehow make it hard on working class families, middle class families, families like yours and mine, where all we want is to be taken seriously and to be treated fairly. We know we have to show up to work. We know we have to abide by our rules, but there are some people that just want to push that aside and just take care of their own and not think about all of us and the well-being of our country. And right now, we know that there's one thing that does matter, and it's jobs, J-O-B-S. And one of the things that I am telling people is we need to bring those jobs back home to the US of A. Let's cut out those tax credits and breaks that go to those corporations that would like to offshore, continue to offshore, and hide their money in other countries. That's not right, and it's not American. What's American is making sure that we can put people back to work and that we can have products that have that seal of approval that I remember when I was growing up that said, made in the USA. Those are things that I think we can strive for, and we can sell our products around this country. But one thing we shouldn't do is sell our workers short. That is the wrong thing to do. You don't offshore just because you know that the wages are going to be low in another country and that your profits are going to be better because you can somehow escape paying good wages and having good working conditions for workers. That is not what is right. The president and I strongly believe that we have to protect workers. We have to make sure that they earn what they are owed, that they get paid minimum wage or overtime, and that they have some sense of security. That's what's at stake here if we don't stand up and get our message out to communities across this country. And I don't think I have to remind you, this has been one of the worst recessions that we have gone through in my lifetime. And I remember my dad telling me, Hilda, the depression of the 30s was really bad. They rationed everything, and it was horrible. People lost everything. Well, we were lucky enough that we didn't have to go through much of that, but there's still a lot of families out there that were hurt, that lost everything. They lost their houses. They lost everything. And it's harder for people to find work. But since this president has been in office, we've already added about 4.4 million private sector jobs. Keep in mind, hasn't even been 3 years, and he's already put back about half of those jobs that we lost. It didn't happen because he was the one administering programs. It's after he got voted in. And in the mid-year of 2009, we saw 8.5 million jobs that were lost. Unheard of, unprecedented. And now we're starting to put them back. And we're doing it because we're closing loopholes, and we're giving more opportunity for people to get education and training. We've invested in the automobile industry. Now I see people in Detroit and Ohio and Michigan that had lost their jobs. Now they're back on the assembly line, and they're getting overtime, and they're able to even share in those profits. And when I walk and talk on the assembly line floor with them, they're telling me, please tell the president what he did was bold, and it was right. And it was right to back the American workers that build our automobiles. That's a message that we have to spread throughout this country, that it's good to invest in our workers here. Give them an opportunity to have their voices heard and to continue to support them, but also other industries, high-tech industries, renewable energy, green jobs, as an example. We should be promoting more so that young people and people can have choices, not just those that are privileged and that can afford it, but for everybody. That's what's at stake here. I think I know a little bit about that because as a humble person coming from the city of La Puente, you probably don't even know maybe where that is. It's a small town in LA County, blue collar, immigrant mostly. I grew up there, family of 7 children. Mom and Dad came to this country years ago from Central America and Mexico. They met in a classroom on citizenship, raised their kid, and all they ever told us was, work hard, go to school, and you have promises and opportunities in this country. They never, for an instance, believed that their daughter, nor did I, daughter of immigrants, could ever achieve this high position that I have. And it is an honor to be able to serve as the first Latina in the cabinet for this president. And the first one to go to college. And it wasn't because Mom and Dad had the money. It's because people before me fought through civil rights legislation, through making sure that there was funding available for people from households like mine that could give this person an opportunity to go on and succeed. Because you know, in many of our schools today, we still have people that don't believe that people who look like me can make it. There's a lot of folks out there that think that those opportunities just shouldn't be made available because it's a waste. I even had a high school counselor at my high school, La Puente High School, tell me and my mother that I was not college material. Now, do you think for a minute if I believed them that I'd be standing here today? No. So I'm like you. I got up and did something, and I showed that person that I could do more. Not only that, but I could also give back. And I could help organize, and believe you me, what I did as soon as I got admitted to college, I went back to my high school and started recruiting students from La Puente High School. We got 25 students that year, I'll never forget it, to enroll in that university. So if this little person here could do it, I know that there's a whole lot of other people that can also master and achieve and be challenged to do much, much more. Right now, education is so important for all of us. And I know that part of that is making sure that people have jobs. One of the things that this president and I are doing right now is making sure that we make college affordable. And you were in that big fight to help us make sure that we keep the costs of going to college lower. And we did it through the loan program, making sure that increase didn't occur so that millions of people, young people, could continue to receive loans at a lower cost. And I want to say thank you to you, because our work isn't done. Education is still under attack. So are programs that I administer to help people get into education and get job training. So we need you. We need your voices. We need your ganas. I hope we have it. I hope we have it. We have to make sure also that we let people know that as a result of the work that the president did in these last 3.5 years, is that we made sure that more people have opportunity to be able to take advantage of some of the things we've done. One of the things that we were able to do originally back in 2009 was put close to 400,000 students to work through summer employment through ages 14 through 24. Now, money ran out. We know that. The Congress didn't want to cooperate. So now we're self-initiating. We're not going to wait and listen to what Congress says. So we've already decided that we have about 100,000 slots open right now, offering positions, or we're getting other local mayors, elected officials to get behind us. And I just came from San Francisco yesterday. The mayor announced 2 days ago, and he announced there's 5,000 jobs that he's providing through this initiative that the president asked him to be a part of. And it's happening city after city after city. And it's because we want young people to have an opportunity to have a job. And I remember my first job. And I was only, I think it was like 15 years old. I was serving as a recreational aide in one of the local middle schools, and it was summertime. And I got to provide meals to low-income families. But I also learned about the importance of showing up to work, being disciplined, and earning something on my own. And going home after 2 weeks of working on the job and sharing my paycheck, showing my mom, "Mom, look, I earned this." And my mom, I'll never forget, was so happy because she said, "Mija, that's what you're going to use to go to school." And I looked at her and I knew what she meant. And you know what? At least it's mine. It gave me a sense of dignity and respect. And it showed me that if I kept doing that, that I could advance myself. And through those kinds of work experiences, I met so many people that saw something in me that my own family didn't see. And again, it goes back to ganas, wanting to change things, wanting to have something better in life, and just wanting to have a part of that American dream. And that's what those work experiences did for me. That's why the president is so vested right now in job training programs and summer youth employment. And we want you to be a part of it, and we want you to share that message with so many other people because it is important. But we've got a lot of work to do. We've got to continue to fight for immigration reform so that the dreamers can stay here. We've got to fight for immigration reform so that the families of the dreamers and those people that are not breaking laws can stay here and be reunited and have that American dream. But we also got to make sure that we take care of everyone here by making sure that jobs is number one and that everyone has a shot at getting a job. Whether you're a returning vet who's 19 years old, coming back, maybe injured, that you have the first shot at a job and that you're not discriminated because you have a disability. We've got to make sure that we open up opportunities for the LGBT community, for the disabled community, also for the displaced workers who are over 40 or 50 years of age that are being discriminated right now because they can't compete to get a job. People are saying, "Well, you've been out of work for 6 months, I don't want to hire you." That's wrong. That's not America. That's not the country I know. So I know we can do better. So I'm asking you to stand up and be a part of our team. You've already had me convinced that I'm a part of yours, but I want you to also engage with us and help us push out all the good accomplishments that this administration has undertaken. Because our work, let me tell you folks, has just started. And right now, we need your energy, we need your fuerza, we need your ganas. So I want you to say ganas. 1, 2, 3. Do we hear it? Ganas. And I want you to say, "Sí se puede." And what does "sí se puede" mean? You got it. All right, guys. I'm counting on you. Thank you so much. Good luck at your conference.